High-rated rock and talk stations on the radio. You've undoubtedly noticed the DJs are getting a little bit racy, if not to some ears, downright offensive. Well, tonight in Top Story, Larry Atterbury tells us what this new abrasive style radio is all about. Larry.
Well, it is a style that some people are calling simply outrageous. Sometimes it's abusive, of course. It's almost always sexy somehow. And it's pushing the limits of free speech on the radio. It's called shock or sometimes reality radio. What's it all about? Let's take a look at Jay Thomas and Tom Leykis.
It's 7:33, 27 minutes before 8 o'clock, with a high today of only about 55 degrees. Of course, this is the morning zoo. You can tell by the smell.
Every weekday morning from 6 to 9, Jay Thomas runs what he calls The Zoo on Power 106 FM.
What is your name? Can I ask what your name is?
Larry Atterbury.
I knew it.
Larry Atterbury. I've seen you on
Don't you
TV.
recognize him?
Yeah, I sure as hell
He's
do.
a local star.
Well, Larry, how are you? And it's a report on jerk DJs?
Well, I report on you.
A report on the...
Now we ought to see it, don't you
That's
think?
exactly right. A report on the biggest jerk in radio in Los Angeles.
I see him every day. It's no
The day I visited, it was Ronald Reagan's birthday, and the former president was one of Jay's targets.
They said no possibility of him ever coming on this show.
Mark Weinberg said.
I believe that was the name, yeah.
Tell you what, you folks, he's in the phone book, isn't he?
Yeah, he
You
sure
just
is.
call Ronald Reagan's office in Century City and tell him that it's a hell of a damn thing to tell us. He's the former president. Didn't we pay his salary for 8 years?
What, 8 years?
We paid his salary for 8 years. I mean,
One little favor.
looks like we're asking for one minor thing. Just come up and say hello. Otherwise, we have to continue to make fun of you and your sex life with your wife.
Sex.
Boy, I tell you, I am a horny little son of a gun, aren't I?
You push it hard every morning.
It's unbelievable, and I think that it's the thing that's on the minds of most people listening. It's great when I get off, though. I get to go home and just put a robe on and not think about sex the rest of the afternoon. But, yeah, basically, I was deprived as a teenager sexually, and once you get...
Are you serious? Is that true?
Oh, absolutely deprived. Didn't get enough spankings when I was a kid.
Is that right?
None of those things other kids had.
And all of this is because of that?
Exactly.
All right. You are pushing what is called shock radio. Is this a shock?
I don't think we're that shocking. I think we're like one of those magazines in the grocery store that's come alive. You know, you always have like somebody's big tatas on the cover of one of those things, and then a spaceship landing. And you've been here this morning. We've got a nut talking about spaceships,
right.
and we've discussed mammary glands and sex organs. So that's really where I got the idea for the show, like tabloid type of stuff.
So you think about it. I mean, you plan it out.
Doesn't look planned, though, does it? Who can think of this dumb stuff? Yeah, we really think about it, and basically, we've been doing it for a few years, and hopefully it's just like standing in line at the grocery store, except you don't have like some bloody meat in your hand, you know?
That's right. Are there any restraints? Do people say, oh, too far?
No. No, that hasn't...
Oh, there they are right now.
Hold it 1 second. Hello? Yes. I've only said tatas twice today. Oh. All right, look. I'm real busy with a TV interview right this second. Yeah, I see. Okay, I won't say gas passer again. All right, I did... All right, I know you're a Republican. All right, thank you so much. All right, bye-bye.
Ronald Reagan?
No, the general manager. No restraints whatsoever. I'd rather not discuss it right now.
Okay. When KFI decided to go talk last year, one of their main attractions, Tom Leykis, afternoons from 3 to 7 p.m. Instead of interviewing him after the show, we did it on the air.
I think there should be any old program, any old time. Believe me, if somebody's irresponsible, the advertisers and the public will shun it and it'll go away.
Now, they're deregulating in terms of you still can't use certain words, and you mentioned one of the kinds of words that you can't use. Suppose, though, you can say the same thing by using another word or using a reference to the other word. For example, you can use, sexual intercourse can be used for other words, for example. What's the matter with that? Anything?
We use other words. We use boff, boink, go at it, get between the sheets. We use lots of words, and everyone knows what the F word is. They know what word I'm thinking about right now. That's the irony of this. I think the 4-year-old kids listening know what the F word is, but I can't say it. But we do use other references. Yeah, sure.
There was a famous suit, though. It's still in the courts, talking about a reference to particular sexual activity that they thought was immoral, indecent, and finally, the worst of all, obscene. So they said you can't do that. In other words, you can't make a reference to something even though you don't use bad words.
Well, another problem we've always had with the FCC is that they will not tell us what it is that's obscene or indecent. They wait until a station does it and puts their license on the line. Then they come after you and tell you you should have known. I say the FCC, I agree with George Carlin on this, the FCC should put out a list of the concepts and the words and the phrases that we can't use, and then we won't use them.
What does the FCC think of this new trend in radio? Chairman Dennis Patrick says the commission gets lots of complaints.
Most of the complaints that we have gotten point out that children can access this material, can obviously turn on the radio dial and hear this type of thing, and they're concerned about children.
Adults, it's okay if it were only adults, is that what you're saying?
Well, the concept of indecency really does go to the right of a society to protect children from exposure to material that might not be patently offensive to adults, certainly wouldn't be considered obscene, legally obscene, but yet is the type of thing that parents have a right and desire to protect their children from accessing.
There are some black and whites, though. There are some words that simply are not permitted on the air, from your point of view, aren't there?
Well, it's not quite that simple. The Commission's approach to indecency used to involve the so-called 7 dirty words. Recently, the Commission has expanded our enforcement efforts. We have actually gotten more rigorous in terms of enforcing this prohibition. We've gotten tougher on this type of material in the context of broadcasting, and we will no longer focus narrowly on the words. We look at the broader situation. The definition which the Supreme Court gave us of indecency in the Pacifica case was one which involves patently offensive descriptions or depictions of sexual activity. And that's a broader concept, of course, than 7 particular words.
Despite the complaints, however, the ratings seem to be going up, and it is a question of how much do people really want or how much can they stand. Shock radio. The fact of life these days, as long as people in big numbers continue to listen. And that's Top Story.
Yeah, despite what Mr. Patrick said about broadening the definitions here, you can imply or say in some subliminal way just about anything.
And they do, every day. I mean, that's exactly what they were talking about on the radio, weren't they? I mean, wasn't it clear what they were talking about?
You could just dance around those 7
Certainly
words.
was.
And then, yeah, right.
But you know, those guys actually seemed more appealing while you were interviewing. I sort of like them a little better now.
They are really
humorous. They were
humorous.
enjoyable people.
And they say we're not that shocking. We're humorous. We are humorists. And in a way, I think they are. They are entertaining, of course. And they're always aware, like they are in television, you know, if you don't like it, it still has an off switch.
I was going to say, yeah, the public has the ultimate decision.
That's right.
Don't listen.
That's right.
All right. All right. Very interesting.
Thank you.